everybody, this is Anthony Beyond from Mission Start Podcast. Oh, I can change that title real quick. From Bethesda Predictions to Bethesda Reactions. I am a host for this, for our reactions, for the Bethesda press conference we just witnessed. Joining me today, joining me tonight, actually, we'll go around the table for those who don't know. We have Great Deets.
Hi.
Oops,
All right.
hang on a minute. There he goes. There he is. Okay. We got Ramen.
Quake!
And we have Alex, our commission photographer, with us.
Good God, these people! I swear to God.
Yes, so we are here to talk about our reactions to the Bethesda press conference that just happened. I think off the bat, holy crap, Quake Champions was announced from Bethesda, and I didn't think it was gonna happen. I wanted Quake to happen because Doom was such a great game, and Quake was the first thing that came to mind after Doom came out. It was so well. Holy crap! They showed a trailer for Quake Champions, and it's gonna be a multiplayer shooter game like it was in prior past, and they're bringing in some of the old characters from the looks of it, like the Quake guy. They got Betterman from Quake 3 Arena in there. I suppose a few other ones that they're showcasing.
Yeah, they had a lot of the old people that were coming back from previous Quake games.
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw Quake 3 main character, I think.
Okay, but before we get into the games, guys, I want to bring attention to, and we were talking a little bit before we went live, just so everyone's aware here, the screenshot that we found of the DOS prompt that ran right before the actual conference went live. We were looking through it, and we noticed a couple things. There's a lot of ID software stuff in there that is, it's release dates in games. So it's kind of a list of, hey, these are the games we've put out. Here's the dates they were released. I mean, they have like Commander Keen, ID's first game ever back in the 90s. And it runs all the way down through Wolf 3D, Doom 3, Doom 4. I think that was a really, really cool thing for them to do, just kind of as a throw out of like, hey, you know, we're loading everything up. Here's everything we have saved on our computer.
Yeah,
it's just really cool graphically.
Well, like the first Quake, that's how you booted it up. You booted it up through MS-DOS.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, where are they going with this? Where are they going with this? And then I saw Quake.exe. Yes.
That took me back, man. Freaking. Oh yeah, the DOS
Hell
days.
yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
Can I tell you how many times I learned how to load up that game from.
Okay, so wait, hold on. So before we carry on, there's something interesting in that list of MS-DOS prompts, isn't there, Alex?
Yeah, which is exactly what I was going to bring up. Anthony, is it possible for us to bring that image up real quick so we can show it?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me load it up on the stream. So give us a second here, guys.
So while he does that, I'm going to talk about it. So what we're talking about here is, if you look down the list, you've got Keen, Wolf 3D, New Order, Old Blood, and then there's something called New Colossus. Now, everything on here has a date that it was released, including, you know, Doom 3, Doom 4, Keen, everything. But New Colossus has no date. Now, I tried to look into it really quickly before we went live, and I wasn't able to find anything about a game or anything, really, that's called New Colossus. Every time I came up with it, I got some poetry stuff. Weird. And since there's no date, it kind of makes me wonder, because without a date, that means it could be a project that they're working on. It could be a game that they were going to release that got scrapped. I don't know. So I'd love to hear if anybody listening or if anybody here on the podcast has any ideas what it might be or what it was.
You know, I have no idea of it, but just like from like what you said, and you said you found a poem, it could be maybe like the launch of like a viral marketing type of thing, which I hope it is, because I love those kind of things. We have to like look it up and then you get hints about things. But actually, before we started, Anthony had a very interesting idea about it.
So here's what I was gonna say, and I have the actual image up on the stream right now, over my face. But basically, I think that because the way that it's ordered for the Wolfenstein game, because Wolfenstein New Order was the most recent Wolfenstein game, Old Blood was the DLC, and New Colossus, I believe, is going to be additional DLC for Wolfenstein. Because right after that, it goes into Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 4, and so on. So I think New Colossus is going to be a DLC for Wolfenstein.
Or
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Greg.
New Colossus
Yeah.
is a new Wolfenstein entirely.
Ooh.
And that's the code name for it.
So here's what I just found. Literally just found. This was just posted on a website. The published date is June 13, 2016. It's some French website. So I had to translate it out of French into English. And it has a really quick one. I'm going to literally read what it is. It's going to be a rough translation because it's just a Google translation.
Okay.
Indeed, a user noticed that during the presentation of Quake Champions at the beginning of the show, a line of code indicated Wolfenstein: The New Colossus after including other securities studios are already known. So
I see.
there's no way to tell if this is a sequel, if it's DLC, but it looks like it does relate specifically to Wolfenstein.
I see.
Yeah, actually,
Well, the other thing
you
on
had
this that-
you
sorry.
had brought up this poem. I want to give the link to Greg because I feel like Greg could read it very dramatically.
Because he's got that lighting set up on it.
Yes, exactly. So
I'd
Greg,
have to move
Greg,
my
Greg,
light, but yeah.
Greg, here's a link. Okay. I want you to read it out and let's see if we can get let's just see if this poem thing leads us somewhere. It could lead us nowhere.
I'm gonna laugh if it doesn't
Good
lead us
stretch.
anywhere and I just read a poem for nothing.
No.
I'm
but hey,
90%
man,
sure
hey,
this is
man.
not going anywhere, Greg.
I don't care. I love
Uh,
this sort of thing. I hope they're doing this sort of thing. So read it and let's see.
Alright, let's see. Alright, you guys ready? I'm gonna move my camera.
Okay.
Go for it. Dramatic
this.
green time.
And then we can continue on.
The new Colossus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your hurtled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Mmm.
Well,
That was awesome.
That's a
Just a little
poem
bit
for
of
Ellis
history.
Island.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little bit of history. That's actually the poem for Ellis Island. It's the one that is for the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Now, I just
Hey,
thought of
buddy.
this. Fucking cool. Hey, Fat Albert. What the fuck if New Colossus is a alternate reality Wolfenstein where it takes place in New York and the Nazis won World War II?
But wasn't that already the storyline for this current Wolfenstein?
Yeah,
Like the
that
Nazis
was
were-
actually part of the storyline that they basically won because of they summoned the Hellspawns for the
So
most part.
there's two things about New Order, which was the
Oh, you're alive, Greg? Greg is dead. Oh no.
Oh, no, not
We
Greg.
lost him.
Well, so I don't know about New Order. I didn't play the game, unfortunately. But, excuse me. But I definitely can agree with the fact that I could
You
see
just hear me?
this playing into being set in America with that, if that is because of that poem. Now, it's kind of a long shot. Yes, we got you back, Greg. We're good.
okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long shot, but I do agree that if this is a second game or even just an expansion onto the game, could easily move into America.
That's
Well,
true.
Yeah.
the thought that I had wasn't necessarily, and there's something that I've always wanted to explore, is what if Nazis won World War II, right?
Mhm.
Took over a bunch of land, including the United States, and in 2016, an uprising happened to try to take out the Nazi regime.
Mm.
Possibly.
That's what I'm hoping that it is.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It could be just another like a side story to the event of Wolfenstein: The New Order. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I actually hope that it goes kind of like that. You know what I mean? That, or it could just be we're all wrong as like a new IP, which is also cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Also, I'd like to point out that in this particular photo, something that we were kind of trying to figure out. Bethesda.net is their website, which is a directory, and then BE3 is literally Bethesda E3, which is a directory.
Oh, that makes
Yep.
sense.
So
All right.
Bethnet is gonna be their website. Yeah. Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
total sense. All right. Cool. Well, we solved this case.
Also, as somebody has pointed out on that picture from the Twitter thing you said, it says also they have 40 PB of free disk space. So evidently, I want that drive.
Like biggest fucking drive. That's got to be like the company's server right there.
Pretty much. That's
Like
public
somebody
server.
dumped everything off the company's server and only put those on there. It's like, okay, screenshot that.
I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, Quake Champions looks good. They showed a trailer but didn't show any gameplay.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
said
See,
that
I wasn't very happy about that, but they did show. They did show that it's back. What you know? Actually, you know what? I mean, that's. I mean, like we can be excited about Quake because we're kind of like moving from this whole like military shooter, slower play shooter into like this realm of where the arena shooter is starting to like kind of like make its way back. The whole thing is that they have Quake Arena that's been out for a while now, and the community's been out. It's only been PC. Then they say, "Hey, here's Quake Champions." It's like, okay, well, like, you know, like, what are you going to do with this now? And they already said, like, hey, it's only going to be for PC, which I understand. Like, you know, a lot of the Quake esports stuff, a lot of the Quake community is on PC, based on PC, always been PC for the most part. But it's like, what are you going to add on more than you did from Quake Arena?
I mean, like,
How? Well, here we go. How about an esports community that they're going to build? They specifically stated that this was an esports game.
Okay, that's what they said when they said Quake Arena, and they have tournaments probably like pretty sure like bi-weekly for Quake Arena.
I mean, the thing about this to me is like it feels like a it almost feels like a Quake Live 2.0, because when Quake Live launched years ago, it had a lukewarm reaction.
You know, actually, I think that's what I'm thinking about is Quake. No. It's Arena or Live. Either one. Either way, there's a Quake game that's out right now, and they have an esport going, and they have tournaments going.
I think you're talking about Quake 3 Arena. I think it's what you're thinking of.
No.
It's probably Quake Live as far as like that's the most current Quake game right now. That may have an esports attached to it.
Yeah, it's probably Live actually.
Yeah. So, you know, they said that they're gonna show more stuff at QuakeCon. So, apparently, I need to go get a ticket for QuakeCon now, so I can go see what the hell Quake Champions is all about.
Yeah,
But, I'm very, very excited when I saw it.
No, I am super duper like all about it. But since they say champions and they were showing like a lot of characters from like the past Quake games, I'm kind of thinking like it might be something where it's like class based.
I don't mean
Which
to
would
interrupt you
piss
guys,
me
but I don't know if this is Bethesda. I don't think it is. Sorry, I'm watching the I think it's the Twitch page that I'm still on, and they're showing a game where you play as Jason, like the murderer, the serial. Sorry.
Oh, Friday the 13th. Oh, that game.
Oh yeah. Well, we can talk about that after we cover the.
Okay.
I know a fair amount about that. I can go into detail
That's
on that
not
after
Bethesda,
we talk
so,
about Bethesda. Yeah, it's not Bethesda, but that is a really cool thing that we can talk about if we want to.
Okay, that's I'm watching it right now. I'm like, because I'm letting you guys talk about Quake because my opinion about Quake is not going to be popular. So we'll get to mine in a minute.
Right, definitely. But yeah, to move on with the other games that showed up at this press conference, then they took a very quick turn into a card game. The card game they were showcasing last year for Bethesda. It was, what was it called? It was Elder Scrolls?
Elder Scrolls Legends.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Legends. Which, midway, the stream cut out, and then it went back on, like, at the very end of it. It was, we just showed a trailer of just, like, kind of like...
I was thankful for that.
Yeah. So basically, like, they didn't really show anything other than the fact that it exists. And they showed, like, a few cards interacting with the board they're using, so... Yeah. I can't...
No, I mean, there's not a really... Okay, so the card game's called The Elder Scrolls Legend, if you don't know. They didn't really cover a ton about it. They just kind of told you it's a 2-lane battlefield. It's going to, depending on how you play, is going to affect how the game actually pans out. So apparently you can play cards into either lane, and it will change how they actually interact with other cards on the field.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be a single-player version and a multiplayer version. And by multiplayer, they meant player versus player or player versus AI, which is kind of weird. And it's going to be released on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. So tablets, smartphones, and computers.
Yeah, so for those who don't like Hearthstone, you have a card game that's, like, I guess...
It's like Hearthstone, but it's not Hearthstone.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're more...
Yeah, I mean, like, with the whole card game crowd, I feel like it's a very niche crowd. So... I don't know. I mean, like, having a trailer where you try to, like, go into like the lore is all right, but the whole thing about it is like the actual people who are into card games, they need to, like, understand exactly, like, how things are going to work, because if a game is ruled, like, unfair or broken or stupid or brain dead, they're not going to play it, and you're going for mainly you're basically aiming for, the fans of the Elder Scrolls series, which there's a lot of course, but the people who are going to stay, the people who are going to sink money into it, are these card game players.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on, like, when,
Greg, I hear a long sigh, man. What do you got to say?
It's kind of dumb, and I'm not trying to be mean, but Bethesda and Elder Scrolls are the type of companies that do a thing really well, and that thing, like you said earlier, Ramen, is storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
They are amazing storytellers, and the best way to tell a story is from the perspective of somebody who can control said story. So look at Fallout, look at the Elder Scrolls games. They each have the ability to tell a story through a first-person perspective, and that makes the player feel immersed. If they want to come out with a free-to-play card game, fine, whatever. I'm not saying they can't. It's not going to do very well. Much like the MMO, it's not going to do very well.
I agree.
They're sure there's going to be people that are going to play it, no doubt. But with Hearthstone killing it, Magic already being a thing that you can play online, and the Pokemon trading card game, which is free to play on any browser, this thing it's not gonna do well. And I can't imagine why Bethesda thought it might.
I can agree with that completely. I mean, it kind of brings me back to what we were talking about earlier today with Battleborn. When you go up against Blizzard, you're in for a fight. It doesn't matter how good their game is, or how polished it is. Honestly, it's Blizzard. The following behind Blizzard is fanatical. It's hard to break into anything that they're doing, and if they have a polished game, which, whether you like it or not, Hearthstone is a pretty polished game. It has a very established set of rules. Here's how you play it, type of game. When you go in against that with something new, you really have to have something amazing if you're going to try and take away that part of the market from them.
I get that. I get that Bethesda was absolutely, in this particular instance, trying to showcase some of the things that they have coming out because they don't have anything huge. They don't have a new.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
And
Besides,
that's,
but like besides the big reveal of Quake, yeah.
it almost seems like this year, Bethesda could have gone, hey, we're not going to have a conference, guys. We'll see you next year, though, with something cool.
Which they've done.
Yeah. So why?
Honestly, I agree with you. I think they would have been better served with just simply like attaching themselves to the Microsoft or Sony conferences and just being like, "Oh, by the way, here's our games."
Yeah.
I mean,
I would totally agree.
Yeah, and this is something that this is the second year that they've done this, and so far, like, you know, from what I've seen, like, it's been a pretty good reception in terms of people who enjoyed the press conference. But like, I feel like maybe they want to do something on their own rather than depend on, you know, hey, we want to show these games at all these games we have and give them time to shine. But we don't want to have them share it with other games for other companies.
I can kind of agree with you on that, but it's just kind of like, okay, the only thing that they showed that was new, that we never seen before, that isn't out already, was Prey, which we'll get to in probably a moment, and Quake. Everything else is basically expanding on stuff that is like already out. You know, I mean, and just like Greg said, it's nothing new. It's nothing like fucking like totally like mind blowing. Like, look, so our minds are blown for Quake because we are fans of Quake. Other than that, what was there?
I mean, like,
you know what I mean? They basically spent the rest of the press conference jerking off their series that are already out.
I think you could say the same thing about Fallout 4 then, because if you hadn't played Fallout, you weren't super excited like so many people were about Fallout 4 being announced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you weren't a fan of Fallout, you weren't gonna be amazed by it. It wasn't gonna blow your mind. Well, we have a lot of that same thing here. If you're a fan of Quake, you're fucking ecstatic right now. You love it. If you're not a fan of Quake, meh.
Look at it this way, Alex. From my perspective, almost every single game that they showed, I, for the most part, don't give a shit about. I respect the shit out of them, don't get me wrong, but like the only game that they kind of talked about in any way, shape, or form that I would probably go back and play maybe is Doom. I can't play Quake because I don't have a good enough PC. Am I interested in seeing it when it finally comes out? Yes, but they didn't show any gameplay. Yeah. The trading card game, The Fallout 4 stuff, it seriously was like, it's just expansions. And if they're doing this whole big thing with mods, why have expansions? I don't understand that.
See, no, I totally agree with. Okay, look, I feel like we need to just like take it one step at a time, because there's a lot to talk about. So, all right.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, Ramen. Because we were moving on from the trading card game. We were moving on to Fallout 4, or Fallout in general. Yeah. That's why I was doing that, Ramen. If you let me talk.
No, I'm sorry. No, I just
shut your fucking mouth.
I was just saying because we like went on like a tangent about everything as a whole.
Right.
Well, I mean, because it kind of my point is that they're like, because Alex was saying, like, if you were watching last year and Fallout 4 was announced and you were like, I don't really play Fallout, so I don't really care, it wasn't that big of a thing. But from somebody like my perspective, where I can see things from others' perspective in the idea of excitement because it's something new, everyone's really happy about it, I understood why Fallout 4 was a big deal. I understood why people were excited about it. And I can understand why certain people could be excited about some of the things they showed this year. I cannot see why anyone would be excited for a Bethesda card game.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I think we're all in that same field as far as the card game goes. The only thing that I would say, the only opinion that I have to say on this card game is that its only saving grace will probably be mobile, and that's it.
True. True.
It'll be an alternative to playing Hearthstone on your phone. Yeah,
I
can
guarantee
see
you.
Yep.
I guarantee you, it'll be no different than Mitomo. Everyone plays it, talks about it for like a week, and then it's just like dropped. It's just
It's
dropped
done.
like a hot baby out of water. That's a weird analogy.
that. Well, let's move away to the game. Everybody, move away from the game. Everybody hates. Let's
Right.
move on to Fallout 4.
Yes. So the next game that was talked about was.
I was trying to ramen. Sorry,
No. Hey, wait. That wasn't me. I didn't say that.
I was
That
fucking
Alex.
with you.
Okay.
ladies, do not make me come over there.
So
we
Fallout.
have all this estrogen in the air right now, man.
Yeah.
Fucking the E3 hype is here, guys. You guys hear that?
We do. So Fallout 4 was talked about and shown off. What was new this time around? This time around, they had new features you could put into the game. That in Fallout 4 right now, you can build your own home. You can have like these tools that you can have to build around how your base is going to be. And one of the things they kind of showcased was like, you have a converter built now, or you could just basically make an entire like base. In terms of like where you want to build like a freaking like a ship right in your yard if you wanted to, and so on. One of the things also that was announced with Fallout 4 was that Fallout Shelter, the mobile game that was announced last year and released the same day as the press conference, is also going to be coming with new content coming for the mobile game, but also coming to PC as well later this year. I think it was like in July is when it was announced. Or July is going to be when it's going to be released, I should say. My brother plays Fallout 4. He loves it. I need to get back and start playing more Fallout 4. It looks cool. I like the features. I like what they're adding to it. I am more willing to play Fallout Shelter on PC because the mobile version, I put some hours into that game, but it just more or less came down to the same problem I have with all games on my iPhone. It's like either have this phone to play games or have this phone to actually use as a phone. So I'm more willing to take in there try it on PC. I think it was really fun. It was really cool.
Can I tell you why I stopped playing Fallout Shelter?
Why?
It was fun until I found out that there was no end game.
Yeah, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
It just goes on forever. The exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went, well, I'm going to see how badly I can destroy my vault. So quite literally, I just did everything wrong, and you can still play the game with one room.
Yeah.
So
I went, okay, well, done playing this, and that was it.
I want to point out too that we pretty much called any Fallout content exactly as it panned out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna be they talked about a Fallout 4 expansion. There's gonna be workshop support, so or on Steam. So somebody makes something and they can put it on the workshop. You can get it from the workshop, and the build your own vault. They didn't give very much detail, but I think that's part of an expansion.
Yeah.
So.
You okay
Once
there,
again, I
Rob?
mean, it's just like an expansion, more content coming out. We're not really doing anything except for expanding the universe further in Fallout 4. And Fallout Shelter, there's some interesting changes in Fallout Shelter coming. They actually said that they're going to change how combat was done, so that it looked like, if you're watching, that you're actually going to have more control over the content of how the actual fights pan out, instead of just like, okay, put somebody in the room and hope they attack. You're going to be able to control them and tell them to attack.
Yeah, you can actually like aim certain characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But once again, it was just a matter of it's just more content coming out. It's not really anything new.
I'm sure that people who still play the game were just like, "That's really cool. Like, I'm glad I can get to do that." But I have a real question about that: is how many people? Because they said a number of how many people downloaded it. It was a huge number,
Yeah.
50 million or some shit like that.
Well,
But-
I mean, anything that's for free and that is on the day of the press conference announcement, people are going to download it.
Sure,
well,
I'm not
but-
disagreeing with you, but how many people are still playing it? Is my point.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was the point I was going to bring up. How long do you play Fallout Shelter? You could probably basically get your fucking shelter leveled up and strong enough to where nothing can fucking touch you in like a week.
So I want to say that segues perfectly into a point I want to make about Elder Scrolls Online.
Wait, hold on. Okay. So, I am totally with you on that, but I want to make a point on Fallout 4.
You're damn
Okay.
right.
Okay, so for Fallout 4, okay, so like going down this list of notes that you put out, right? So build your own vault. It's okay. So it's like okay. Let's bring in more of this like crafting type of like mini game that you can do. Let's expand on it. But they showed this one screen where they pulled out to like the side, and it basically looked like the exact thing as Fallout Shelter. So it's like the way I took it as was like, hey, you can now play Fallout Shelter in your Fallout 4 game. Okay.
That's a possibility, actually, because if you remember, they do have the Fallout 4 companion app that allows you to actually interact from your phone into the game itself.
Yes. So, I mean, for like me, who I played the game, I played through the mobile game for like a week, and then I was done. But for me, if I want to play the game, I want to fucking play the game. I want new content and stuff like that, which they did. They didn't really touch too much on exactly what we were going to see, other than the Nuka-Cola land plant thing, I guess. I mean, that was cool. That is completely fine with me. Then they had like workshop support, where basically they're going to give you more options, like things that you can build in your settlement. Like for like me, and I feel like it's kind of a niche niche players who actually niche players who played Fallout 4 who spent and enjoyed a lot of the whole building your own settlement thing. I felt like there was more for that crowd than there was the people who were like more into like the world, the story, the lore, the going out and exploring and getting this, getting that, and doing shit.
It's more content. It's just more content for the current games they have, and they're gonna support those games with more.
So so they had mentioned maybe like 3-4 things. I'm only gonna do one of them because I care mostly about the like lore, and that's a personal opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, in general, for Fallout 4, a lot of DLC and a lot of new content coming down the pipeline for Fallout coming this year or the coming years pretty soon. So the next game they talked about was Doom.
No! Don't do this to me. I want to go into Elder Scrolls Online really quickly.
Here we go. Let's go.
I know I'm skipping a couple games. We have Doom and Prey to talk about still, and we'll touch on Skyrim as well, even though there's not much there. Right. But Elder Scrolls Online. One issue I take with this, and I've been an MMO player for years. It's been over a decade that I've been playing World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. They claim, and this is a huge claim, that they have 7 million players. Now, I want you to, if you haven't been following Elder Scrolls Online, it went free to play pretty quickly after it launched. It went from a subscription model to a free to play. Okay, that's kind of how the trend is. It's hard for games to keep up and actually keep a subscription base. World of Warcraft was the last game that was really successful and able to do that.
I think like one of the only ones besides Final Fantasy 14 right now.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy 14 only did it after they completely destroyed everything and rebuilt it from the ground up.
Yeah.
So we have 2 games that are MMOs in the world right now that are subscription only. Everything else has a free-to-play model of some kind attached to it. Even games like pick a game. Even WoW actually is starting to move away a little bit from the subscription-only model, and they're moving to WoW, the game time tokens that you can purchase in game with gold. So even they're starting to cave a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I take a major issue with the fact that they claim they have 7 million players, because I am almost 100% sure that they are claiming every single player that has ever registered an account for that game. End of discussion. Not the active players, just anybody that has the game.
Let me ask you a question.
I agree.
This is something big that I have to make a point across. How many original concurrent players are playing WoW right now, do you think? Just an average number.
Maybe a couple 100,000 at most.
A couple 100,000?
I'd say at most. That's on
At
the high
most?
end. It might be lower than that, but
Okay, well, so you don't think it's above $1 million?
no.
Huh. Okay.
I would doubt it just because I know myself personally as a WoW player, I loved Vanilla WoW. That was great. And as we've moved through the expansions, my interest has kind of gone back and forth. Like right now, currently my subscription is frozen, which means I don't have any game time. I can't play. So, yeah, I would say that there's quite a few players who are like myself where we go through an expansion, we're like, okay, this was cool, but it's not what I'm looking for right now, and we just let our time lapse.
Okay, so my next question is how many... They've had, 20 million registered users over the first time?
Something like that. I'd have to look up the exact amount.
Now, I know they've been around for a long time, and Elder Scrolls Online's only been around for a year. But that's 7 million over three consoles of free-to-play.
Mm-hmm.
That's less impressive the more I say stuff.
Well, okay,
Here we go. I got the numbers for you.
Okay.
We have, as of 2015, they have 9.6 million subscribers on World of Warcraft.
Okay, 9.6.
And that's subscribers, not accounts. So those are people actively paying to play this game.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a hell of a lot of people.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So if that's okay, so they have 2.5 million more than what Elder Scrolls Online claims to have. Even if those 7 million are concurrent, that's still split amongst 3 systems. World of Warcraft's just PC. The point I'm getting at is it's not impressive.
No. That is literally it was just a big number of people be like, wow, I should fucking sign up for Elder Scrolls. But the whole thing about
7 million,
it is,
that's a big number.
that is basically like what they were looking for. Now, when I signed up for Elder Scrolls, pretty late. And when I was on there were, definitely not fucking 7 million. Definitely not even hundreds of thousands on this. It was like one PC server, and you're there. Okay, when you have one PC server for a MMO, that's a problem. And if you play MMOs, you know what I'm talking about. So the whole thing about it is that okay, they say that it's Alex was saying okay, it's free to play. The whole thing about it is it's free to play up to a point, but you need to buy the expansions. They had a Thieves Guild expansion that came out earlier in the year. You had to pay for that. And then now, which is what they had announced, which is I was pretty hyped for, Dark Brotherhood. You're gonna have to pay for that shit. It's not free. It's not a fucking upgrade. And that's the way they're kind of doing it. That's kind of the way they have their model right now.
I was surprised the fact that they were still supporting Elder Scrolls Online. But
yeah, same here.
They showed off new DLC for the game, Dark Brotherhood. They showed a new trailer for as well. More content for Elder Scrolls.
I guess they feel like they have enough concurrent players to continue supporting it for right now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that is completely fine. I mean, for me, as I love the Elder Scrolls series. I've been playing since Elder Scrolls Arena. So having the Dark Brotherhood in the game now, which is something I have always wanted, that shit fucking excited me, and I might actually pay the money to actually do it. But the thing about it is, afterwards, I'm gonna feel dirty because I paid money for this shit.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's one other thing to remember
the fucking Dark Brotherhood. If you are a Elder Scrolls fan and you play an assassin, the Dark Brotherhood. Oh God, so fucking sick. The storylines, across Morrowind, across Oblivion, across Skyrim, the Dark Brotherhood stories are so good.
There's one other thing to keep in mind, too, with Elder Scrolls Online. They literally just announced this during the press conference, is the no content barriers. Now, how they explained that, if you weren't watching, was you can drop into the game, complete the tutorial, and as soon as you're done with the tutorial, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
To me, that is like you're throwing in the towel. You're saying, fuck it, people don't want to play this game. They don't want to go through the content like they're supposed to. We're going to just let them do whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, okay, like here's the thing. Like I feel like that is a very like they're basically playing with like words, because there's certain content in the game as far as like add-ons where you need to be a certain level, you need to be a certain like you need to be in a certain way in the actual game in order to get there. Now, it creates like a bunch of bullshit. It's like, okay, so if I want to party with my friend who's level fucking 70 and he's doing the fucking Thieves Guild, can I do his quest? Probably not. I'm gonna fucking get killed, or like that's the way it's supposed to be. So I mean, and like they really didn't get into too much detail about it. That's the thing. So I feel like there's like a catch to it, and I feel like the whole catch to it is going to be is if you wanna get into, okay, let's say Greg, I say, hey, come over, play with me. You sign up. I'm doing Dark Brotherhood. Okay, cool. Join me in this quest. You can't, because you need to buy the fucking Dark Brotherhood. I feel like it's content barriers for earlier content. That means the Cyrodiil expansion and then backwards.
Let me give you the best analogy. Let me give you the best analogy I can come up with for the scenario. And I think this is what Alex is kind of getting at too. If I come up to you, Ramen, and I go, "Hey, do you wanna go with me to this basketball game? It's kind of amateur stuff, but I really love it. It just costs $15 to get in." You go, "No, because I don't really want to pay $15." And then I go, "You know what? Actually, I'll pay for you. You want to come? I'll pay for your way." You might be more inclined to come. You're not going to enjoy the basketball game any more or less because you didn't have to pay. You are going to come because you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
literally.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, Ramen, then it's not, the content isn't, they're not, it shows to me, and it might show to other people, that the content isn't good enough to have it be paid for.
It's not good enough to stand on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem in an MMO.
No, it is. No, it really definitely is. I totally agree with, the points that you guys have made. I just feel like they're just basically trying to do whatever the fuck that they can to get this MMO that's been dying to not die.
But that's not good. If you're trying to sell me an orange
for $20, and you're like, "This is the greatest orange on the planet," and you go, "I'm not fucking buying an orange for $20," and I go, $10, and you go, "Nah, it's still too expensive," and I go, $5. You're like, "It's still not
wrong with the orange?
It's goddamn orange, right?" And I go, "Here, just take the orange, just take it from me." You're like, "Hell no, I'm not taking the orange now." Like that means that it's gone rotten or something.
Okay,
what's the fuck's wrong with the orange?
Yeah.
So, not to cut you guys off, but we do have other games to talk about the press conference, so we can continue on about this.
Let's touch on Skyrim really quick, because it's literally this. Skyrim is being remastered. We're done.
Yeah.
And hold on. There's also another point that needs to be made about this. Anthony called it. Anthony said about the mod support.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mods are apparently coming to Skyrim. But like I said, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a catch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We'll know more about that later.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Skyrim was announced, the HD version of it, coming to newer consoles, and mod support is coming with that as well. So, yeah, that's a point for me.
I also said this while we were watching it, and this is my only point that I will make about it, is there's nothing wrong with Skyrim, but if you played it the first time and synced just 80 to 100 hours into it, which is probably what it takes, unless you're using the glitches and shit like that. If you're playing it legitimately, it takes a long fucking time to beat.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that again in higher graphics? Probably not.
And my counterpoint was, if you played it properly on the PC, you already had those higher graphics.
Yeah. Pretty much so I was going to make the point of the secret is that if you played it on PC, it doesn't fucking matter.
That's true.
Well,
And hey, guess what, guys? All the mods, including more, minus the download cap, you can get for free. Okay.
I will say that it was nice hearing the Dova King song again. So.
Oh yes. But like, I don't know. Like it's
you gotta be
just,
a big
it's
fucking
just,
fan, man, to like
Yeah.
play it again.
I mean, really for like me, the only thing I have to say is like, welcome to fucking like 5 years ago when the game launched.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome.
But yeah, so that was announced. One of the things that was also shown was that Doom. They were talking about Doom in the press conference. More DLC stuff coming specifically for the multiplayer. They're bringing in new maps, new modes as well, and they're bringing in a new type of demon you can transform into as well. And that's something that is cool to look at and see. I might check it out. But the multiplayer, I mean, this is something that was, oh shit. This was something that was announced earlier today that it was going to take over the multiplayer aspect of Doom. So hopefully the multiplayer will get much better.
Thank God.
So
I mean, that was exciting. As far as like these new modes, like, hey guys, capture the flag. It's a mode that should have already fucking been in there. Zone control, which is basically like.
They already had 5 modes before that, man. Like the 5 modes were actually a lot of fun. I played quite a bit of Doom before Overwatch came out, and as soon as they announced this DLC, I was kind of like, this is really cool for everybody who's not already playing Overwatch.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like Overwatch
Yeah.
right now is like I think the most fun multiplayer game out there in terms of like a first-person shooter. But I will take a look at it and see what this looks like for Doom. Also, attached to this announcement was that they have Bethesda jumped on the VR bandwagon, and you can walk around it in hell in the VR version of Doom, or just a small portion of it. And it's also
It'll be like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Whee!
and then also to add to that with the VR, they did announce that Fallout.
Tweeting that joke out right now.
The full game.
Sorry.
No, that's right. They did also announce that Fallout 4, the full game, is also coming to VR, to HTC VR, next year. So I'm very curious to see how that turns out and what the sales are for that. But yeah, VR is definitely something that Bethesda is taking an interest into.
We want to make sure you understand, too, when they say it's coming out to VR, they mean that it's coming out exclusively on the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, because Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive are going head-to-head right now to see who comes out on top. So they're both competing for games. Right now, from what I understand, HTC Vive has a lot of indie games. A lot of them are really cool, but they don't have any big guns to bring to bear. Whereas Oculus has a lot of guns going at it, going like, hey, we're going to come out on the Oculus Rift. We're going to come out on the Oculus Rift. Well, Bethesda just told you can wander around the wasteland as you see fit in full VR. So that's a pretty big point in their favor if you're a Bethesda and Fallout fan.
Yeah,
I mean, like, the way I took this was like, really, like I said, I haven't gone to like much, I haven't really talked about it here on like the podcast, but I feel like VR is just a fad. It's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, I don't give a shit like either way. So like have fun, like invest, like the way I had took this was have fun investing all your money in something that's not going to last. It's maybe going to last maybe about like fucking 4 or 5 years, even if that.
Me and Greg had these conversations numerous times on this podcast, and I'll just say this, is that VR, in my opinion, won't last in the game industry, but I do think it is a great tool outside of the game industry to use for other purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
VR will be no different.
Definitely agree.
VR will be no different than motion controls. It'll be fun for a while. It'll be fun for gimmicky stuff, but for the most part, it's not going to overtake what we have now.
I can agree with that.
That, and then it's also way too fucking expensive.
That's true.
Way too expensive right now.
Now, to be fair, if they can bring down the entry cost to get into VR for the consumer, it may have a place like with the Wii U and things like that, where it's more of a casual thing.
Yeah.
But they have to really work on bringing that cost down, which in the next 5 years may be something that we see happen.
Yeah, I mean, like for like me, give me a like, if you were to offer me a VR rig for fucking $100 tomorrow, yeah, hell yeah, I would buy the shit, have fun with it. But it's not the way it is right now. It's not what it is. You're gonna be investing in like a lot of money, and then if you're on PC, you have to also think about like, can my rig run this? And if it doesn't, then you have to upgrade. You're gonna be spending more money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
Well,
the whole VR thing, I
don't know if you've heard the thing about the Vive, but if you have an older PS4, it won't work on it. At least the way that I have it right now.
Awesome. So
that's not awesome. It's definitely
That's
not.
I was like,
awesome
that was a
at
weird
all.
response to that.
It's not fucking awesome at all. But go ahead.
The next thing that showed, I'm kind of going back and forth with what they showed at the press conference, was Prey. We finally saw Prey, and it's a reboot.
We called it.
Well, to be fair,
Alex called it. Alex called that it would be a reboot.
Yeah.
Goddamn right I did.
Fucking Jesus. Fucking E3 Jesus is here.
So yeah.
Somebody nerf me.
Is it a reboot though?
So Prey was shown. It is entirely rebooted. You are this main character kind of going through like the same cycle of like waking up in the morning, and you look in the mirror and you have this like red eye, or like your eyes red for some odd reason.
The way that I would explain the trailer is Groundhog Day in a video game.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's basically Groundhog Day of Groundhog Day was putting you through hell.
Man,
Yeah.
I almost told a really blue joke just now by your flub. It was going to be really bad, and then I stopped. And I was like, no, not right now. No.
Type it in the chat.
Right.
So go ahead.
But yeah, like it was shown off, and it looks good. I'm more curious to see more about it. Because like this is like Prey is almost becoming like Duke Nukem level in terms of like how long this game has been in development for a very long time, and like I wonder like at some point was this like canceled and then brought back to life later on. But yeah, like they showed it off. It's definitely a different take on what they originally had, and I want to see more of this. I like the idea that you're in space and like you are an astronaut, that you are combating this unknown thing that's coming at you. It's cool. I like it. I want to see more of it. So hopefully.
I'm curious if it's going to be aliens again, because that was the thing with the first game, and then like Prey 2 is going to be about being a human around alien creatures that are not human. So I'm curious if this is going to have anything to do with aliens.
Well, it's like when they had talked about the game, they had said that they're going for more I forgot the fucking word that they had used, but it was going to be something to where it was like very more deep, very they said psychological.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to have like a very deep story with twists and turns, is like what I am getting from it, and from the like trailer, which is cool.
I was gonna say, if you saw the trailer, it definitely tends to do that. It has kind of a horror feel to it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see.
I mean, like I would say, like I would hope that it's going to be good. I hope it's going to be fun. I don't know. Like I'm kind of like on the fence about it. I'm just happy that the Prey band is back, but like kind of like then again they're just like, fuck the past. Here's the new shit. We're just gonna like use the name because fuck it.
It's a weird thing to maintain that name.
Hey guys, you guys like Prey? Well, fuck everything that Prey did. Here's Prey. Fuck you.
Yeah,
like
it's interesting. Like I'm not sure if I would respect the fact that they kept the name because it has name recognition, or
yeah, exactly.
It's not just the name recognition. I'm assuming, obviously, I haven't played Prey, so I'm kind of going with just what I would assume a company would do. But I would assume that if they're keeping it within the same within the same universe. It may not be the exact same story, it may not be the same characters, but it's the same general premise for the universe itself. It would make sense to keep it. Kind of like we have, well, let's go with Halo. We have seven different Halos, I think it is.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the RTS bullshit. We're talking about the actual console and PC games. There's
RTS
7 different
bullshit
ones.
was good.
No, it was crap.
Go ahead. I love
So they all touch on different things. They all see different ways from it, especially when you get into things like ODST. Halo ODST, I don't know if you'd call it Halo, but it was set in the universe of Halo, so I could kind of see why they did it.
Yeah, but okay, look, like here, yeah, no, but the whole thing about it is the difference between Halo and like Prey. Halo is a storied franchise where they already have this universe built, and ODST was kind of like a side story that was going on between, like events. You have this universe to play in. Prey really didn't. Prey had one single story, but it had this.
Don't know that. I'm
idea.
sorry to interrupt you, but you don't know that. A lot of these, especially companies like Bethesda, they will write the entire universe out. Like Halo, they made one game, and they had an entire universe written.
No. Look. I totally agree. You don't even need to finish it, because I know where you're going with this. But Prey had one game, okay? And then aside from the one game that's like fucking 10 years old, maybe more than even that, they haven't built upon this universe in 10 years. So it's not an established universe where the books know, where there are TV series know. You just have this one single game, this one single story. You get an idea of what the universe could be, should be, would have been. But now we're going to get it with Prey.
It's not an established universe for you. That's the thing. It may be 10 years since the last game, but for 10 years they've been working on this. They have an established universe.
But see, look, playing the first Prey and seeing this, complete departure besides the sci-fi themes, I would say.
I would say that you both have a good point in terms of like what if there is a universe that is created, because if you think about it, every game that comes out contains its own universe, and whether they want to expand on that universe with another game, the company can do so, or completely change the universe or reboot it, or however they see fit. So I can definitely see both ends of your argument. Seeing Prey as a reboot for the franchise, I think is needed, because like honestly, like are people gonna remember what happened in the last Prey? Like
no,
unless you
it's over. Is it 10 years old now?
I would say over 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the Xbox 360 is already
I think
like over 10 years old.
Yeah.
So
and I think
and
it was an early 360 game. So yeah. I think
all right, just for you guys, I went to the internet for this. It is 10 years old as of July 11th.
Oh, wow, right on.
Okay.
I was close. I was really close.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
but
we will call it 10 years. It's close enough.
Yeah.
But so Greg was saying about the whole thing about like no one's going to remember. I totally agree with that. It wasn't a very very big game at all. So
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. It was. I remember it being a big deal around the time it came out, just because it was completely different. It was completely different from what we knew.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that it had is that it was ultimately forgettable.
Yeah. That's.
I want to point out too, it actually had a really good Metacritic score. Its Metacritic score is 83 out of 100.
Yeah, it was a good.
So it was a good game. It's just with everything else that was going on, Halo 2, for example, it was forgettable and it got left to the side.
Yep.
Yeah, because like that game had launched, and I think within that same year it was Prey. Aside from like the actual trailer, they had actually showed some multiplayer footage of Prey. That looked pretty cool. It was kind of like arena-y-esque, whatever is the right word. But I feel like the multiplayer is gonna be pushed aside, just like the first Prey multiplayer was.
I think just majority the main meat is gonna be the main meat of the game's gonna probably just be single player. So I don't think
Yeah.
much of a thing.
Yeah.
So one last game before we wrap up our final thoughts on the Bethesda press conference is Dishonored 2. A whole lot of time on that. They showed off the two new trailers and a gameplay segment as well. A lot of time on the game. The game, I definitely like the art style of it. It looks really good. It definitely is going to be more complex with the superpowers now you get. You get to choose to be, the Corvo or his daughter Emily in the game. And both have, different styles and different types of weapons you can use. It looks good. It looks good. It's a fucking good game.
Yeah, no, that shit. It looks amazing. I kind of like they had this first trailer where it was like like they said we're gonna show you the game, and then it was like okay, like a bunch of like fucking pre-cut shit, like fucking renders and stuff like that, and I was going to be very sad.
Yeah.
I was like, no. I like the world looks beautiful. I get it. I fucking understand the setting. Give me gameplay, and then they gave it to me.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like I kind of was like, okay, like this is the way it's going to look when I'm playing the game. These are the options that I have. The one problem that I had with the segment was the guy who was like calling out the action. He was like ahead of what was going on. I felt,
Yeah, he was ahead by what, 30 seconds to a minute?
Yeah, he was like, okay, and like now you guys are going to see this and this and that, and it's like, okay, but it's like, I kind of like the people who are like, hey guys, like, oh man, like what just happened there? Like, okay, well, like she has this ability that does this and this and that, like, or just more. It's like, okay, like, well, she's right now going to try to infiltrate this. And it's like as it's happening, you see her, and you build this fucking suspense, this story.
And while we all know that it's all pre-recorded gameplay, give us the illusion.
Yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I was still happy with what I saw. I got to see that when this game comes out and I buy it the first day, that is what I'm going to see. I'm going to see this or that. I'm going to see the way, the hood looks. I'm going to see the way the world looks as it's moving in game and flow. Happy with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, one interesting thing or a couple interesting things I found actually too is they actually showed a new engine with this game. They call it the Void engine. It's a new game engine that they developed and are using for this game. And it looks like with that engine, they actually incorporated a way to do random environmental changes. For example, the trailer showed a dust storm, they called it. It looked more like a sandstorm to me, but it was
cool.
And not only does it change the environment, but the environment change actually affects your gameplay. Because with a dust storm, you can't see in a dust storm very well. Well, that actually affects the gameplay itself. That's really cool. That's not something you really see. Like, you have a lot of stealth games where it's like, oh, well, it's nighttime and it's easier to hide at night, or there's lights out and you have to kind of go from shadow to shadow to shadow. But now we're going to have this whole other concept. Hopefully they go way far with it, where if there's a dust storm or it's cloudy or it's raining or something like that, it actually affects how you have to play.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It looks really good. I'm liking where it's headed, and I'm definitely going to be excited to see some more footage of it in the next couple of days for E3.
Yeah, definitely.
So, last thoughts, guys.
Hold on. Before we move on, I feel like it's important to get an outsider's point of view, and I think Greg is kind of our outsider when it comes to Dishonored. I want your point of view right now, Greg.
So when the first Dishonored came out, I was like, oh, that's a really cool, neat story, and I played it for a little while, and I got to the point where it started having me do stealth. And I was like, this is not my cup of tea. I'm really bad at it. And I kept dying. And I went, I'm done. So I went and watched the guy play it, and I was like, okay, so this is how it's built. Oh, it's basically built like a chapter situation where each place you go to, you can kind of tackle in your own way. You can do certain things and still complete the task. That's really cool. And the abilities were really nice and fun. Give me a second here. So when they started showing the second game, the thing I had noticed right off the bat was how little of the game they were actually showing. And I was keeping note of how much they kept talking about it, talking it up, without showing any actual gameplay. They were like, now we're going to show you what the world looks like. And it was this really long, arbitrary thing of showing atmosphere and scenery. And I went, what the fuck are they doing? And then, then they showed the gameplay. And I went, this looks very similar to the first game, just with some new abilities. It's adding bells and whistles to what was already a great engine. And then they got to the time travel stuff.
That was
and I went, that's the coolest thing they
That
showed.
was fucking crazy.
That was way
That was
cool.
sick.
That was the coolest goddamn thing they had shown the entire time. And I went, the game might be worth it to play that. Now it looks like that Dishonored 2 is a more fleshed out story than the first one. It seems like. Mm-hmm. I have nothing against Dishonored 2. I think that the way they presented it may have been a little boring, but they did get to the good stuff. However, I'm still not that interested in it. It doesn't make me want to go buy it. It doesn't make me want to go out of my way to play it, and I probably won't. I don't even know if I'm interested enough to watch somebody play it. I might watch somebody play that time travel part, but as for the whole game, I'm probably just going to skip it. And that's simply because I don't care. The first story wasn't that enthralling, or the first game story wasn't that enthralling, so I didn't think that this one would be any different.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely fine.
All right. Well, with that, let's wrap up our final thoughts on the Bethesda press conference. And again, we'll do the same thing as last time. We'll give a grade for this one. Alex, you first.
For Bethesda, I'm probably going to give them a solid C. I want to give them more, but unfortunately, as we mentioned, a lot of their stuff was kind of, hey, we're going to expand on this. The only real things to note are Quake Champions, Prey, and if you're a fan of Dishonored 2. Everything else was kind of like, we're going to add to Doom. We're going to add to Fallout. We're going to have this weird fucking card game that nobody asked us to make, but we're going to make it anyways, and you know what? You're going to like it or you're not going to like it. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Which I kind of respect them for just putting it out there anyways and being like, we don't care if you don't like it. We did it. Screw it. But yeah, it's there's not a whole lot of meat to it. I feel like they could have just skipped having their own conference, and they could have just attached these games to the Microsoft or Sony or PC conferences, and they would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
All right. Ramen.
I would have to agree with what Alex said. C. Definitely got more in the way of gameplay. Quake, Prey. Other than that, everything else is just kind of like jerking off the franchises that are like already out there. And even then, it wasn't even like big things. Besides, for me personally, being a Elder Scrolls fan and somebody who used to play Elder Scrolls Online, Dark Brotherhood, cool. But like nothing there wasn't this big, huge like fucking bombshell. This wasn't this. It wasn't anything. But it was definitely better than fucking EA, and it's probably going to be up there as far as like gameplay that we actually see throughout this conference, I would say. So, solid C.
Greg.
Funny enough, I mostly agree with what these two are saying, except I'm going to give it a C-. Primarily being the reason that, yes, as Quake, Prey, and Dishonored were the only things that were really interesting enough to show off. Quake and Prey had no gameplay. They had what could be gameplay, but not actual gameplay. And Dishonored was boring than not. The rest of it was extremely boring. None of it did I care about. I could understand how somebody could be interested in the Fallout 4 stuff. I could see how someone's interested in the card game, but I think ultimately it was a poor choice on their part to even have a conference this year. The C minus is simply because they did announce two things that everyone was very excited about, and that was Prey and Quake. But those were announcements, no different than Sony going remake of Final Fantasy VII. It's when do we get to see those games? Is it next year at E3? You know, like it's. I don't know why I'm looking that way when my camera's right here. It was just a lot of that, and so I think that because I do agree with what you guys are saying on what was noteworthy and what wasn't noteworthy, but also add in the factor of what was entertaining on like a scale of just being entertained watching it. I was less entertained than I think you guys might have been, so C minus.
All right. My final thoughts is I'm actually going to give this press conference a C+. I definitely enjoyed Quake. I lost my shit when that was announced. I was really excited to see what the hell Prey was in its current state. Dishonored 2 was another one in my list. I think for me, like what made it better for me for this press conference is the fact that we just saw a lot of gameplay and a lot of like things that were showing up rather than showing off a trailer or showing off, you know, behind the scenes. Like they actually went and showed like actual gameplay of each of the games they're showing off, as well as much detail in terms like, you know, the DLC that is supporting of the games. To me, it shows that Bethesda is in it for the long haul, and they're definitely supporting the games they have out right now, with new content coming down the pipeline. So I give it a C+ in that perspective.
Yeah.
So with that, guys.
I mean, hold on. So, before we actually like move on, I just want to say like the like starting of these like press conferences haven't been very good. I really hope that this isn't the like the fucking flow, the way the whole show's gonna go.
We just got two of the weakest press conferences traditionally out of the way. Bethesda is like every couple of years there's a really strong showing, and then they're weak.
Yeah.
EA is always hey, look, we have sports.
Always terrible.
We've got a bunch of sports games. We're going to spend 20-30 minutes talking about sports games. Here's a driving game. Here's a shooter. Good job, guys. See you next year.
Yeah, so it's like the ones that are noteworthy are the console ones, and then on top of that, I always look forward to the Ubisoft one because it's going to be awkward as shit every year.
Yeah, every year they have something weird happen there.
Yeah.
But see, the point that I'm making is like, okay, like if we're gonna start off like on this flow, like we just don't really know like where you're going, like where we're gonna really go. But hold on. If you guys want to know where we're going to go, then you need to stick your ass right here and listen to our podcast.
So yeah, Ramen is correct. We are going to be back at it again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's a big day. So here is a list of press conferences that we'll be giving our thoughts on as well as covering. So 9:30 in the morning, tomorrow morning on Monday is going to be the Xbox 360 press conference. And then at 11:30 a.m. is going to be the PC gaming show. 1 p.m. is going to be Ubisoft press conference, and then at 6 p.m. is going to be the PlayStation press conference.
So just to clarify for our
God
listeners,
help me tomorrow.
Just to clarify for our listeners, we are going to be live here at 8:30 discussing things towards the Microsoft one, and then we'll have an hour of discussion before what's the one between? Is it Ubisoft after Microsoft?
No, it's the PC gaming show.
PC Gamer one, and then we'll have a 45-minute gap between PC Gamer and Ubisoft. Thankfully, what's that?
I was gonna say no. It's we have like a good break like after Ubisoft between that and the Sony press conference.
But this channel will be like stay tuned to this channel because we'll be constantly. So it's all fine all day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be here for everything. I'm gonna try and make it for the last one. I think that was the PlayStation.
Yeah, Sony's
The
last.
last one of the day.
Yeah.
Real life, unfortunately, is a bitch, and I have to work. But I will definitely come back for that one since I will have the time, and I should be home and have plenty of time to prepare for lots of insights where I can school you all and have Robin ask that somebody nerf me because I'm always right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. So one other thing is like I am in the process of uploading these streams onto our YouTube channel as well as on our podcast feeds. So if you miss on the Twitch stream, you can always check out the VODs, but it'll also be up on our YouTube channel and on iTunes and Stitcher. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So with that being said, this is Anthony Vianis. This is the rest of the crew from MSP, and we're gonna say goodnight. We see you guys tomorrow for day 1 of E3. Or
Day 1.
Technically
Day 1.
No, actually, tomorrow's day 0. Today was day
it?
-1.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, these
Not
were
only does
this
E3
like so
manage to
pretty
go-
much. So this day was for all the fucking cool kids who felt like they needed to be at E3.
Yeah,
So
because the
fuck
doors,
them,
the
because
doors,
they didn't have anything to show anyway. So fuck them. So
the doors to the doors to the convention center don't open until Tuesday morning. So
Yeah.
So, not only has E3 taken an entire week at this point, they've gone like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to go further than that, we're going to take other days.
yeah.
At some point, I feel like it's gonna be an entire 7 days.
It's just going to be a month. It's just going to be a month. Fuck it. Everybody's going to have one day, they're going to have 12 hours to show everything they plan.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay, but hey, but then the whole catch about that is no fucking gameplay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We gotta jet out of here. We gotta get ready for tomorrow morning. But we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early. And that's gonna be it for Mission Tower Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.